Hey all, it's your girl Sharron here for episode 2 of my So Says Sharron blog, and today I'm going to be talking to you about karma. It's a very simple concept or theory. However, once we put emotion to it, it changes its actual meaning. So what is the definition of karma? Karma is simply cause and effect. That's it. And what we tend to do with karma is we put our emotion on there and we look for expectations from karma, when karma is actually a mystery. We actually don't know what's going to happen next because we don't always know all the variables involved. So I'll give you an example of a common misconception. So one of the common misconceptions of karma is you reap what you sow. And any farmer worth their salt will tell you that just because you sow it doesn't mean you're going to reap it. And if you're not familiar with you reap what you sow, it's basically just saying that whatever I plant, I will be able to reap my harvest. And there are so many variables involved. There's insects. Not to get into farming, but there are so many different variables involved that won't allow us to actually reap the positive benefits and the negative from what we actually sow. So I'll give you an example. Say I was to go to California to a park and I strike a match and set that park ablaze, and it devastates the area. People lose their homes, they're displaced. Well, in a fair world, someone will catch me in the act, or the fire department will be right there to stop the blaze from getting really bad. But we don't live in that world. So unless I have a crisis of consciousness, the chances are I would probably never be caught if I kept my mouth shut. And I can imagine there are a lot of people out there with most of these blazes that's devastating our country being set intentionally that never get caught. So in that instance, that person doesn't necessarily reap what they sowed. However, who reaps it is the people that's affected by that fire. So more often than not, what one person sows, many reaps. And it's not always a good thing. So the next thing I want to talk about is mass karma contributions. I've never heard the term used before, so I'm going to just say I coined that phrase. And when I say mass karma contributions, I'm referring to many people sowing the seeds that future generations will reap. So I will focus on gangster rap in this particular instance. So gangster rap came out, I think it was Gen X. Rap in general was kind of in the boomers. They've probably been doing it for a long time, but it got hit with the boomers. So I can't necessarily put like Dougie Fresh, KRS-One, and Kwame and all in that group. Even Will Smith. Like, I can't put them in that group because they told different stories. I'm talking about the individuals that came out within my generation. I'm pretty sure it was Gen X that came out with the hard lyrics, the raping, just all this negativity that they were experiencing in their communities or individually that they added song to. So there's one thing talking about what actually happened to you in your particular neighborhood, but when you put a tight beat over something, it becomes a whole different monster, and it's easier to kind of take it down. So you have that generation pumping that negativity into our youth, and then you fast forward and now you're looking and you're seeing that, now these young cats are out here that they will like put one in you and not blink. They're laughing in their court cases. It created a monster. And even with the misogyny that a lot of this gangster rap brung, Now women are actually referring to themselves as bitches. And the one thing that we'll do is we'll make excuses for what's happening. And that's a part of the mental health thing, is that we don't actually really take seriously what the consequences of the collective actions on a particular individual, because we think we're so strong, especially for Black women. So they feel that they're taking control of the word, but you have one other person outside your group call you a bitch, and then it's a problem. And the same thing for the N word. There's so much negativity pumped into that word. So fast forward to our generation that's now saying that, oh, it's a term of endearment, but we're not looking at the fact that if somebody from a different race were to call you the N word, it's going to be a serious problem. So that's showing you that you haven't taken ownership of that word, because if you've taken back the power of the word, anybody should be able to say that word to you and it's all good. You wouldn't bat an eye because you own that definition. That's not always the case. And we cannot see the effects that that negative energy had on us. And one generation's influence became another generation's karma. Karma, cause and effect. Oh, and then if you're skeptical, okay, so let's put my spiritual scientist hat on. So for the skeptics out there, scientists have conducted experiments called the water experiments, where scientists would take individual glasses of water and direct specific energy into them. So in one particular glass, I will be directing love. In another glass, I'll be directing hate, and then another fear. When you look at that water under a microscope, you can see how it crystallizes and what love looks like and how positive it looks compared to fear and hate. So our energy is something that is very potent. We are energetic beings and we are powerful. So we can't put the blame on one particular individual. So we can't put the blame on gangster rap when we were all like, bitches ain't shit but hoes and shit. Like, we were all listening to it, and we contribute, I feel, greatly. Like, there's a whole lot of, like, you have the media pumping negativity into individuals, and it's just a collection of negative energy that causes us to be desensitized to human suffering. It really honestly is a shame. And then, we're looking at what we actually sowed, and then we're like, oh God, like, why is this happening? Why did such and such die? Like, why? We put the blame and we look at God, but I haven't read every religious text, but I would bet that most of them are like the Bible, where they say that you have free will. And we look as individuals, but we also have free will over other human beings. And that's like the catch-22 in all of this. So we shouldn't blame any higher powers. We should blame ourselves, and not just one individual, but all of us, because we're all responsible for what we're actually sowing into the world. Yeah, I had to get the karma episode in there because we fail to see how connected we are, and that's another show about our oneness. And once we are able to see clearly how we're contributing to the whole, then maybe just a shift in understanding how powerful we are and how we contribute to universal karma, because we're all in this together. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you were enlightened, and my next episode will be on love. I'm not sure why that wasn't my first one, but I definitely need to talk about love because there are misconceptions there as well. Take care, everyone. Thank you all for your support, and we'll just